how can it look more specifically for communities of color?
Ooh, I can answer that one.
Yep.
I think, like the video said, I mean, communities of color, women of color, we are typically hypersexualized, right? And so we're expected to kind of be really like over the top, and our orgasms are supposed to be earth shattering, and we're supposed to be very wet all the time, and like, you've seen the porn, like there's porns out there where women are like squirting across the room. And so when we see this, right, because the scripts that we follow are what we see on TV, and what a lot of those times what we see on TV is like porn, and there is no like female pleasure there. And even when there is, because I will take that back, I grew up watching porn, and sure, there would be, you know, a person that would go down on the woman before sex, but like, it would be like this, guys. And you're like, what in the world? Like, no one, what is happening here? But she would apparently be wet enough for sex after that. And that is not how any of that works. I find myself saying that a lot. And so, yeah, I think for communities of color, and then, so then, like, so when you're hypersexualized, then it's like, okay, well, good girls don't do any of that. Like, none of it at all, whatsoever. Keep your legs closed, don't even talk about it. And so when we don't talk about it, we don't know, like, what's normal, right? Or what to feel, or what an orgasm even is. And so, yes, there are women who, like, go their whole lives not knowing if they've even had an orgasm. And yeah, so I think communities of color, because of the way that we are hypersexualized, we tend to just not talk about those things. When I first started teaching my blowjob class, a lot of people would come to the class, women of color, like, so where's the instructor? And I'm like, hey, girl, it's me. Me, because we, you know, we don't do that. And so I think it's important to change the narrative, and I think that's why it was really important for me to kind of become a sexpert and put myself out here on this platform, because representation matters.
I was just going to ask, we don't do that? Like, black girls don't get blowjobs?
No, girl. No, black girls don't get blowjobs. No, not at all. That's your job.
I wish someone told me that.
And black men don't go down either.
No, gosh, no.
Right.
But they do. No,
Right, no,
they
no, but the script.
No, you're right, they don't, because that's not a manly thing to do. Like, you don't have to do that because your penis is so big.
Yes. So that's what I wanted to point out, is that the communities of color deal with this from a male and a female perspective. So black men are hypersexualized too, in the sense that on the one hand they're, you know, stereotyped in porn as the mandingo or whatever, but other times it's just the fact that they don't have the ability, they haven't been told that it's okay for them to say, I just want a hug tonight and I'm not actually interested in sex.
Yeah.
I just want a hug. Can I have a hug? And men in general are not taught that they're allowed to have emotions that are related to touch unless it's intercourse, unless it's penis focused. And so, you know, communities of color and subcultures are all going to have their own slant on that, but in the overall American culture, I find that there's this toxic masculinity in which men are not allowed to have emotions. They're just allowed to be sort of vagina-seeking penises.
You're so right. And I know you guys came here to talk about women, but I think it's important to note that, like, men don't have safe spaces. And it didn't occur to me until I started doing this work that, like, you know, it's easy for us to come into this room and gather and talk about the female orgasm, but, like, guys aren't doing this. They're not doing this, okay? And there's no safe, like, that our culture has not afforded them a safe space in this way. And so I think they come to us seeking all of those in relationship.
And to add into a Latino, Hispanic, Latinx lens, I definitely saw that too, of like toxic masculinity. My older brothers were kind of raised of like, you have your family, you take care of your family, you're not expected to show emotions, but I was raised as a very like emotional, like I like the hugs and the kisses and everything, but I find that my partners may kind of like, who are Latino may kind of not be as like, yeah, give me a hug or give me a kiss. in public. But like you're right, like they do these things that they say they don't. And then the other thing with growing up, masturbation did not exist for women, for us, for girls. My family, and this is only specifically my family, would joke around with my brothers like, oh yeah, you're gonna go masturbate and all this, but they would not say that to me, and I would be like, what is masturbation? And like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. So I can definitely see that. And now growing up and being a sex educator, and I actually teach out to adults, Latino, Hispanic, Latinx, I see that they do want to learn, but they just don't know how to ask. It's like they hush it very down. So masturbation, like, can you tell me more about that? Or like pleasure, can you tell me more about that? Like orgasm, like, can you tell me more about that?
So piggyback off that, so the subcultural context is incredibly important. I will tell you about a client that I have right now very briefly. He's in his 60s, and he and his wife came to me having some sexual challenges with libido and frequency, and he's from Jamaica. It's a black couple, but she's African American, and he's from Jamaica. And he was raised in lots of children family household, so he shared a bed with his brother. And in no way, shape, or form did he or any of his brothers ever talk about sex, or was it ever mentioned. And not only that, but masturbation was considered a complete you don't. And in fact, if you were found out to have been masturbating, then you were, and it was also a homophobic environment, you were sort of chastised and called gay. And so he's 60, he's never masturbated. He actually really hates his semen, because in those moments when he would have wet dreams, he would have to hide it from his brother so that he didn't get mocked. And so it just gives me chills. It's just so restrictive and you know, sad for him. But you know, his subculture is Jamaican, and within Jamaica, his subculture is even somewhere else within his family. So, you know, I think stereotypes are challenging because they are general but specific, and then within them you get even more specific.
I want to call out another one. I noticed a lot, I find women who are in my sensual self-care class who just want to learn more about the vagina and how it works, and the vulva and the labia and all of those things. But having a period in a lot of subcultures as well is like just shameful, and like women are treated terribly, and it's like a bad mark. Yeah.
You gotta clean yourself.
Yeah, and so a lot of us, you know, when we feel that way, or if there are attitudes in our households that are that way, we, you know, you start to feel shame around it. Every month when you come on your period, it's like, I'm a dirty person, and what is this dirty thing between my legs that causes me all this, you know, shame once a month?